Hello, this is Unit 8 video lesson on statistics, and we're discussing lesson number 4B, the second half of 4, stem and leaf plots. Your objective is to make and interpret stem and leaf plots. The essential question for today's lesson is how can you use place value to represent data graphically? What is a stem and leaf plot, you're probably wondering? Well, a stem and leaf plot is not a stem and leaf. It's actually a special table where we take a value and we split it into two, the stem and the leaf. So let's say I have the number 32 and I can split that 32 into 3 and 2. The 3 would become my stem, that's the first digit, and it represents the tens digit. And the leaf would be the 2, that second digit or the last digit, and that would represent the ones digit. So you can see here that I have a place where I wrote down stems and I wrote down leaves, and I split those values up. So first up we have cell phone minutes, and we're going to take those minutes and make a stem and leaf plot. I'm going to start by taking these numbers that represent the minutes and placing them from least to greatest so I can see that range. I have my smallest digit being 2 and my largest digit being 55. So I have 1 and 2 digit numbers. So my stem and leaf plot, I'm going to have the stem represent the tens digit and the ones digits represent the leaf values. So when making my stem and leaf plot, I'm going to vertically write down the digits that represent the tens. So I have 0 all the way up to 5. And you want to make sure you include every digit from 0 to 5. Then I can go ahead and horizontally write my leaves in. Once you do that, and you've accounted for each data point, then you can create your key. And the key is important because someone needs to know how to read the stem and leaf plot. So here you can see that I have a 1, and you can pick any one of your stems to represent your key. And so if I pick 1 to represent it, I have to pick one of the values in my leaves that correspond to my stem. And so I chose 4. And then when you read that, it would represent 14 or 14 minutes. Our next example, I have test scores represented in a stem and leaf plot. And just looking at my key here, I have 9 and the 2, which represents 92. So my stem represents the tens digit, and my leaf represents the 1 digits. Looking at question number A, how many students scored less than 80? I can come over here. Anything less than 80 would be included in the 70s and the 60s. So I can see that I have 66, 70, 75, 77, and 78, and that's a total of 5 data points. So 5 students scored less than 80 points. For B, how many students scored at least 90 points? So 90 and up would represent at that, because at least 90, so it has to be greater than 90. And I can see that I have 90, 92, 99, and 100. So that is 4 students scored at least a 90. And C, how is the data distributed? Well, we don't need to do this, but I'm just going to kind of give you the little visual here. If I were to draw a bell curve, you can kind of see it sideways. I can see that it kind of has a normal distribution, right? It's kind of symmetrical. And the center, or my one that has the most, would be in the 80s. So I can word that as there are fewer lower test scores and there are fewer higher test scores, and the majority of my test scores are in the middle. Using our test score stem and leaf plots, go ahead on your own and answer A and B. Pause the tape and come back when you're ready. All right, how many students received a B on the test? And a B is represented between 80 and 89. And when I look over here, I can see those values right here, and that it represents 9 students. How many students received a C? So C is a 70 to 79. And when I look over to my stem and leaf plot, looking at the 70s, I can see that I have 4 students. Which statement is not true regarding our plant height stem and leaf plot? A, most of the plants are less than 20 inches tall. When looking at my plot, I see that majority of my leaves are over here, which is less than 20. So that would be a true statement. B, the median plant height is 11 inches. Looking at my leaves, I have 15 values in all. So the 8th value would be my middle number. We're calling that median, means middle, and that would land on the 0, which is 10. So this one is not true. And let's go ahead and check C. The range of the plant height is 35 inches. My lowest value is represented by 1 inch tall for the plant, and my highest value is 36 inches. The difference between 36 and 1 is 35. So that is a true statement. And D, the plant heights that occur most often is 11 inches. And when I look at that data, I see that I have 2 1s in my leaves, so under the 1's place value, so that would be 2 that are 11. And I don't have any other numbers that repeat, so therefore that also is a true statement. So my only answer would be B. Looking at our plant height stem and leaf plot, you are told that 3 plants are taller than 20 inches. Is that statement true? Well, what do you think? Hopefully, you are thinking yes. And that is because when you look over, I can see that I have 22, 25, and 36 represented in my stem and leaf plot, which is greater than 20. I'd like you to go ahead and try to make a stem and leaf plot using these values for the different hair lengths. Welcome back. Hopefully you made your stem and leaf plot, and let's see how you did. All right, first thing you should have done is ordered those numbers, and you could see that your smallest hair length in centimeters is 1, and the largest was 47. So you have a range from 0 to 4 to represent your tens place value. And then you went ahead and you put in your ones value. I want to point out really quick here, if you notice, I have 3 ones here, 2 2s, and 2 5s. And that is because, if you look at my data, I have 3 that represent 1. So I have to include all 3 of those in my stem and leaf plot. Once you put in all your data points, you can then make a key, again picking any one of the stems, and I went ahead and used 1, and therefore I'd have to use the 2 because I only have 2 as my leaf. So 1 and 2 makes 12 centimeters. We finished another video lesson on today, 8.4b, stem and leaf plot. If you have any questions about this video, please post your question in the discussion section in our Google Classroom. Go ahead and visit Khan Academy and your IXL practice, and don't forget to do your exit ticket before going on to lesson 8.5.